Before you finish detailing out the floor plan, it's important to look at this assignment and make sure you understand what all the requirements are. They could change over time, but as of right now, you're not required to put in any furniture. You do have to put in some appliances, some fixtures in the bathroom, and even the washer and dryer. That way we can see if those spaces are sized large enough. Let's go ahead and look at the floor plan that I'm going to show as an example. You wouldn't have to have a floor plan quite as detailed as this. I do have furniture in there. If you want to put it in there, it's great for scale. We can see the size of the rooms. This is a family that should already be in your project. If it's not, just go Insert, Load Autodesk Family. You'll have to sign in, and then you can get any one of these families. A good example of that would be the sofa. If you don't have this one, just search for sofa, and you can change the size of it if you need to. If you don't have this sink and the countertop with a sink, you can just load that in too. Most of the countertops will come without a sink already inserted. This one just happens to have a sink in there. At least I think it does. I can't tell. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't. So here's a sink with a decent size. You can see that my depth is 1'9", my width is 2'9". You can come up with whatever size you think is appropriate for your house. But here's one that would work, and if you want to steal that size, that's great. A dishwasher, there's the size of my dishwasher. A refrigerator, there's the size that I'm using. I've got this family here, which is the range, 30 by 26. And then everything else around this is just cabinets that you don't actually have to put in. If all you do is put in the countertops, which is this family here, then it'll look like there's cabinets underneath there, and that's all you would need to show. Now, keep in mind that there are a few different shapes for countertops, and this one is just a straight countertop, right? I can just stretch it however I want to. It's just a straight shot. Same with this one over here, although this one does happen to have the hole for that sink. This is a countertop that you can insert for just an island, so it doesn't have a backsplash or anything, and you can edit the type and you can change these sizes. There are some L-shaped countertops, and some of them have sink holes and some of them don't. If you decide that what you want to do is put in some kind of a custom countertop, then it's actually quite easy to do. There's a couple ways that you can do that. The easiest way to do that is just to go to Architecture, Floor. I know this seems a little bit weird, but just create a floor type and call it a countertop. Got my caps locks on. And again type countertop, and then just change the thickness of it to be 1.5 inches. Put in whatever material that you want here, and the material that I'm going to choose is just default. If there's a material that you know you want, go ahead and put it in, but it's really easy to just choose the default material that's already inside of Revit. There we go. I was wondering why mine was red, and even now it's shiny, but I'm not going to worry about that. Just, you have a default material in there. I think every project has it. Go ahead and choose that, and then your countertop will just show up as white. And for right now, that's everything that you would need. Okay, and then we'll simply draw the shape of it, right? So if it was going to be like a U-shaped countertop, you could do something like this, and then you would have to draw in your own little opening for the sink. We want to tell that to be 3 feet above the finished floor. And then there it is. So that's one really easy way to do a countertop. If you know how to do a component model in place, that's another good way that you can do a countertop. And again, if you don't want to put in all those cabinets below, that's something that maybe you'll have to do later in the project, but you wouldn't need to do them right now. Okay, same thing with these upper cabinets. We just want to keep this simple, so you could either put them in as actual components, or if you'd rather, just use a DL detail line. Go find something like a hidden, and there should be 2 of them. There should be one that says hidden and hidden lines, and you want the one that just says hidden. Okay, and then you can just start drawing lines like this that have the dashes in them. Of course, you'd want to put that over here. They should go like this. let's just pretend that I didn't have these upper cabinets in. I would do detail line, find that hidden, and then they're just going to be 1 foot deep. So I'm going to come out 1 foot, and I didn't get it, so I got to start over. Okay, we're going to come out 1 foot. I'll just type it in, and then draw that across, and that looks like I've got an upper cabinet in place. That's all I would need to do. Okay, the next thing to look at is your doors. I would choose a good door family, because this isn't something that you're going to want to come back and have to fix and change later. So I would spend a little time looking for the door patterns that you want. You can see that I've got a 6-panel door right here. And if I didn't want that one, I'd go to Insert, Load Autodesk Family. Again, you might have to sign in. Then go to Doors and decide, if I don't want the 6-panel, is there a different door here with different paneling that I actually like? The only one that I don't recommend is the single flush. I think that's going to say flush. Yeah, flush panel. I wouldn't use that one. I don't see this one very often either, just a single panel, but any of these other ones are great. Find the style that you like and then use it throughout the home. Don't forget what size should go where. I've got a 32-inch door into my bedroom, and that's for a master bedroom. You know, you could do just a 30-inch door in most kid bedrooms. So this is a 2'8", and a 30-inch would be a 2'6". When we go into the bathroom, you just need a 2'4" or 28-inch door. And when we go into the laundry room, we want to go back to a 2'8", 32-inch. Just make it easy to get that washer and dryer in there. By the way, here's the family that you can use for a washer and dryer. You should be able to find those in your project. And when we go into a closet, 2'4", same as the bathroom. If you have a mechanical room, which honestly you should, even if it's not very big, you can see mine's not going to be very big. That could be a little bit bigger. It doesn't actually need to be a full 36 inches. That could be like the laundry room door, 2'8". This one happens to have a bigger door. How about closets? Well, they can be as small as you want them to be. Here's an 18-inch door. Okay, if you've got closets with bifolds, this is a family that you'll probably have to find and load into the project. But they come in various sizes. This one happens to be 4 feet wide, but they can be much bigger than that. And then how about a pantry? Well, this one's only 2 foot wide, and a person needs to be able to walk through it, and they can easily get through a 2-foot door. Okay, the front door, that one's always going to be 36 inches. And the door going out the back, I don't really have a backyard or a back door, but if I did have one, that would need to be 2'8" at a minimum. But you can certainly go bigger than that. 2'10" and 3 feet would also be acceptable. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is shelves. The shelf family that's in Revit, or at least in the template that you've opened, it doesn't work very well. You may have noticed that if you tried to place a shelf yourself. But what I want you to do instead of using it is go into the assignment. Sorry, not in the assignment. I want you to go to Project 2 in Canvas. I'm going to collapse it and just go down a little bit further till I see Project 2 Resources. And then I've got some Revit helpers. And this is a shelf family that you can use that it will actually work when you place it. Go ahead and follow these directions, but you'll actually be able to see the family. Unlike the one in Revit that when you place it, you just can't even see it. Okay, and while we're here, let's talk about some other things. There's some fireplaces that you can use. One of these, and I believe it's this one, will cut an opening in a wall when you insert it. And in plan view, it looks kind of like this one. You know, it's got this trapezoidal shape. So if you're going to insert something like that, here, let me just download this and I'll show you. I'll hit pause while it downloads. Okay, I've got it. I'm just going to open that, let it upgrade. There's the family, and this is exactly what it does. It just creates a little opening in the wall. And now I'm going to load that into my project and close the family. Okay, when it's in the project, you actually need somewhere to place this. So let's pretend that I wanted a fireplace here in this front room. having somewhere to place it would mean that there's a little cavity where this thing can go. I don't know why I'm getting that issue. It's probably because I'm filming. Let me fix it. Okay, so you need a little cavity like this. And now I'm going to go CM for component. There's my fireplace. And I'm going to place it on that wall. And of course, my cavity isn't deep enough. Probably could afford to be a little wider too. And when I look at this in 3D, there it is. So you can see that the fireplace will just insert itself and cut a little opening, and everything is protected behind this cavity that I've created. So this is a gas insert fireplace. I definitely recommend using this if you need a fireplace, just using this family. It's the easiest one to use. I can give it an elevation, so if I want it to be a little bit higher, and if I want to create any kind of a hearth underneath it, you know, I can raise it up that way. I think that's a little high. But there is one other family that you might consider. This one, although it doesn't cut its own hole into the wall family, you have to create one on your own. And then you can put this on there if you want to. This would be a mantle, and it comes in separately from the actual fireplace box. I don't know that I would use this one, but that's a real wood burning fireplace. Actually, it's more just like a fireplace cavity. I mean, what they may have used like 100 years ago. So it's cool. It's got a whole chimney and everything, but we really don't do fireplaces like this very often. You might have instead a wood burning stove. That's what I've got here, but I wouldn't worry about that too much. This is the easiest fireplace to put in, probably the one that I would recommend using. Okay, now let's go look at the bathroom here. All you need for this is a vanity countertop. And find the sink if you can. I've got a sink family that I loaded. It's round, so it'll fit the shape of that vanity opening. Toilets are easy. And if you want a shower, there is a shower base in Revit, and you can make it whatever size you want, just like I've done here. If you want the bathtub, which you don't have to have a tub if you decide you want a shower like mine, then there's a couple of them, and this one is wall hosted. It's probably the easiest one to use. And you just put it up against a wall. Okay, the last family is this big sink right here. It's just a single sink, 2-dimensional, so it's not even a 3-dimensional object. I think it was all that I could find in a laundry room. That's kind of what you would expect to see, just a single sink. So you can either find a family or you could use that one. I'm not sure if I showed this one earlier, but just in case. There's a nice table dining family that you can search for. And again, this just gives us the size of these things inside our spaces. You don't have to have that, but I think it's helpful as you're laying out a floor plan. And it will look nice too when I present it. Okay, the next video should show you what to do when you've finished all these things so that you can have some materials showing.